My initial intention for this recording was to talk about the process for creating the pieces for the current exhibition by retracing my steps and unfold the connections between association and meaning. But that proved to be too daunting of a task, simply because it's hard, if not impossible, to be in the moment, that is, in the back and forth movement of the act itself, and reflecting on it in a meaningful way at the same time. So I gave up that idea and instead decided to share what had triggered this sudden interest in my own practice. It was after listening to a radio program on Les Chemins de la Philosophie that I started to reflect more intently on my own practice. On that episode, the guest, a specialist in French movies, French films, was talking about Alain Resnais's works, and her analysis just opened a window to a better understanding of my own practice. She was making the point that Resnais's movies were, at their core, works about memory and reminiscence. Hiroshima Mon Amour, which I saw in my 20s, I think is very eloquent on the subject, not only because Marguerite Duras wrote the script, but mainly because Resnais was able to successfully expose in images complex aspects of our mental life, in this case, the inner workings of reminiscence. And it was probably what made his movies so unconventional. She also said that Resnais's he insisted on the idea that reminiscence was more about the present than the past, and that what triggered that circuit was typically an insignificant event, something anodyne, trivial. What might come to mind is the famous Madeleine of La Recherche du Temps Perdu, for instance. And it would be in the difference, the gap between the triggering event in the present and its mirrored image in the past, that allowed us to enter the present through remembrance. In other words, she was claiming that the act of forgetting belongs to the present. Then I started to hypothesize that the significant role played by the unplanned in my own practice is what engages the unconscious more directly, and by the same token triggers a circuit similar to the one that is at work in reminiscence. Now, this is not to say that the method is entirely unconscious or even mostly unconscious, because very soon after you've applied the first layers, you are immediately confronted with formal issues that demand to be resolved, and the association process itself, to which you must give meaning. Of course, those two aspects are intertwined and difficult to untangle, but I do believe that they are of a different nature and probably engage different parts of the brain. I will close here, and in my next installment, I intend to talk about a particular painting and its different stages in a more practical way.